You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Polity, a program that focuses attention and dwells extensively on trending or unfolding political events within Nigeria and even beyond the shores of the country. My name is Maucauley Hunohashi. My producer is going to display the telephone in the course of the show. But joining me in the studio right now is, from our far right, is Dr. Jonathan AJ. Jonathan AJ is a public affairs analyst. Jonathan, you're welcome to the Polity.
Thank you for having me.
And directly beside me is Edward Chanomi. Edward Chanomi is a clergy and also he's a bishop, to be very, very precise, and a public affairs commentator. Gentlemen, you are welcome to the Polity.
Thank you very much. Happy viewing.
Okay. Let me start by talking about something that's so dire to all Nigerians, from the highest to the lowest, and that is the economic hardship. We all know, it is no longer news, that the cost of fuel, because all of us here drive cars. We have dependents who drive cars. You know, most people who can afford cars, they don't put water in their cars, they put fuel. And the cost of fuel has quadrupled in the country. Is no longer news. Even basic food items like staple food like rice and, that is supposed to, keep people alive has shot through the roof. The cost is no longer bearable. Dr. AJ, talk us through the macroeconomic challenges facing Nigerians today in terms of government policies, from your own perspective.
Thank you so much for having me. Nigerians are very resilient, and they are easy to support any government that comes on board, especially if there is a promise made, either through electioneering or what have you. But sometimes pain will make you to be impatient. Yeah. Especially when you are not receiving from your leaders empathy, sympathy, identifying with your plight. Nigerians are suffering, there is no doubt about it. Okay. Is it unemployment? Is it food that they cannot afford? Is it the burden of dependence on the civil servants? Is it the businessmen that their businesses are no longer flourishing as it used to be? So there is suffering on the street. And when you interview Nigerians, you know that actually they are children. They are suffering, and many of our children, they cannot even go to school. Okay.
Let me come to Edward. Edward, you are a clergy and you shepherd multitudes of people, both online and offline. You also buy foodstuff. Can you take us through how the difference between what you used to obtain in the last 1 year and now in terms of cost of living?
Yeah, a lot of things have changed. This government came in through so many campaign promises to Nigerians. Yeah. And I want to say that maybe what they told us is not what they are doing currently. A lot of things have gone up. Prices of goods, commodities, whatever. I believe, let's take it to the first day Mr. President came into power by removing this subsidy. That is the genesis of the economical hardship in this nation. So a lot of things are tough. As of last year, during the previous government, even though that government was so tough too, but not as this. Not as this. So with the plight of Nigerians and what they are yearning for, I think the president should, one thing is a listening president, but with this one, he should come to the plight of the people. My brother here talk of sympathy, empathy, and then meeting to the people's needs. I believe the president should hearken. I love one thing he said, that he appealed. That appeal should go with action. What action? Call those people that are planning this, the leaders. Call them to a round table and chart the way forward.
Let's take I want you to x-ray the economic team of Mr. President. How have they fared so far in terms of policies?
Yes, as to policies, some of them are very fantastic. But can you identify the policy of Nigerian government with the plight of the people? I remember in one of my interactions I said, let's take from our budget. Yes, a federal government has a budget different from the state government. But even at that, the budget of every government is supposed to identify with the plight of the people, not what some set of people sat and maybe preview and claim that this is the need of Nigerians. Now, the policy of government, as we are saying today, even the implementation is very faulty.
Okay.
Now, why do I say that? You are making arrangements for the farmers. Maybe you want to give incentive to the farmers. Number one, the issue of insecurity. That one is not even the first thing now. The hunger that is in the land now, do you know that even the farmers that produce the food, they are suffering for it? Why? When they produce their food, their crops, they take them to the market, the middlemen will buy it all from them. This hike in prices that has hit the roof that we are suffering today is not caused by farmers, it's caused by middlemen. And the farmers can no longer buy the food that they produce. Now they don't have storage facilities. They sold it at a very cheap rate. The middlemen have taken over the market and they cannot go back to buy the food to feed. Now, where does the government come in? The government is supposed to have a plan in place. Yes, there's no room, there may not be room for price control. But if you know that there are middlemen as players that are frustrating the economy, the government is supposed to have a buffer zone. And from that buffer zone, you can flood the market with it and compete with the middlemen. Of recent, I heard that some trucks of grains have been moved to the state. Now, another aspect that the government is faulty or is not up to is in disaster management. Somebody is hungry, for instance. You want to intervene as a government. And for the past 3 months, the trucks are still moving and they are parked somewhere. A hungry person does not take 7 days for him to collapse and die. So we have problem with this, and hunger is a disaster in this country. So we have problem with disaster management. I give it to the military. In a situation like this, I expect Mr. President to involve the military in distribution of those food items. There is no state that cannot produce 2-3 battalions of the military. Mobilize them. Our people are not even supposed to kill for food. I know the capability of our military. They can drop this food from door to door under 3 weeks. So why should you keep somebody that is hungry for 1 month to say you are sending, and they are sending the food stuff to the governors? Do they have the logistics? Then politics will come in. They will look at faces, who is a member of their party and who is not a member of their party. And the crisis is escalating. So the federal government should do something in their policies.
Mr. Edward, Dr. AJ talked about logistics and failure on the part of government to effectively distribute palliatives. That takes me back to the days of distribution of palliatives. Exactly. Okay. We have seen situations where warehouses were broken, they were vandalized, and people stole everything. And the recent case was that what happened in Lagos, where a truck that was meant for religious, a faith-based organization was accosted, stopped, and all items, taken away by, reprobates, undesirable elements. How did we lead to that?
I want to say that, just like what you say, bringing in the military to do this distribution. In the days of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, the military did these things effectively. The days of, what is his name, General Buhari too,
yes.
They did these things effectively. They may not know people like that, but they know houses, they know where to distribute this, people queue up, and it is done amicably. But when you hand it over to the governors and to the local government and to this and that, let me tell us the truth, they only give it to their cronies.
Okay.
And some of them don't even share. I remember that they broke a White House here, is it in the Karimu area also, yeah. And they cut away with those things. And some of these things, and when they pick them up and they say, don't take it, it's an expired good. If it's expired, why should you keep it and let it to expire? This is wickedness in the part of the governance. Okay. Pure wickedness. Why should you keep food when there is hunger? Exactly. Now, Mr. President is doing his best, releasing trailers of metric tons of food. These same people will not share it. These same people will hijack it. I don't know what they are keeping it for. How would they send food and then you keep it for 2-3 years till it expires? It's pure wickedness. Okay. It's unacceptable.
Okay, let me go back to Doctor. He has expressed skepticism, and there's a word of optimism, skepticism. Now, why are Nigerians very, very skeptical about, policies of government, particularly at the subnational level? He applauded Mr. President for releasing grains from the national, reserve or grain silos, and now he's saying he's skeptical at the subnational level. There may not be successful distribution of this. Why are we so skeptical about our leaders in this country? What are those things that informed our skepticism or cynicism?
The reason is very, very simple. We revert to history, and most of our leaders can no longer be trusted. Okay. That is the main issue. You give promises during your campaign, you are not keeping to it, they are quiet about it.
You read out long manifesto.
Yes, and you are not implementing it to the letter. And you begin to introduce politics. Like the looming crisis of this protest. Do you know that if Mr. President Tinubu had, the very day he removed fuel subsidy, if he had increased the minimum wage to 60,000, that very day, and they implement it, the crisis we're having now wouldn't have surfaced. And number two, I listened to one of the ministers that made a promise that the minimum wage, while the discussion was still on that it was going to be implemented in May, we are in July. So the big question is, why do you wait for agitation until you implement your own policy? So Nigerians can no longer trust the government. And number two, I remember in 2012 that Nigeria was occupied. And what was the issue? Removal of fuel subsidy. And the moment fuel subsidy was retained and another government came up, it was during Buhari's government, 8 years, and now we're having the first year running of President Tinubu's administration. What the labor with the demonstrators said that time was that in a place, before you remove fuel subsidy, build refineries. And for 9 years, no single refinery is built. And we have not seen the reserve from fuel subsidy. Okay. I listened to news one time, was it not last year, where NNPC came to tell the whole Nigerians that they are using more than 60% of fuel subsidy to maintain refineries. Yes. How many refineries are working now? So when Nigerians put all this together, they have concluded that they can no longer trust the government. And President Tinubu was part of that government that stopped removal of subsidy.
A protest.
Yes, in that protest of 2012. And now he has been in government as our leader for 1 year, and yet no single refinery is built. Now, so the reason why Nigerians can no longer cope with government policy and their promises is they have lost hope.
There's a trust deficit.
Yes, and government has a role to build that confidence in the Nigerians. Okay. He
talked about trust deficit, that government has a role to build confidence between the leadership and the led. He also talked about refinery. None of our refineries is working because they are not operational optimally. But there's a Nigerian that has built a refinery, which has created an indication that this thing can be done. He built a refinery from scratch, and that is Dangote refineries. But there's a forth and back, acrimonious, relationship between the Dangote group and even regulatory authorities in government. Why should Dangote be treated such?
We thank God that we are Nigerians. the masses knows the truth. When you have cabal in place, when you have cabals in place, what is bringing this nation back are cabals. If you look at other sectors, even the area of the electricity sector, cabals. Concerning the refinery, the cabals are in charge. Because if the cabals are not in charge, the Nigerian refinery will have worked all these years back. Cabals. Now, Dangote has been given license to operate independent petroleum, whatever. Cabals. Is it today that we have been having bad fuel? No. It has been on, even currently the one NNPC is bringing in. How sure are we that it is?
He has even urged the members of House of Representatives, led by the Speaker that visited the factory, to subject his product to, forensic analysis, to confirm, to verify, the...
Who will check the analysis? The same cabals. The same cabals. These cabals have made Nigeria not to move forward. They have made this country not to move forward. And they will create a law and bring also bottlenecks that will make the law not to work. They should allow Dangote to operate this oil. Even though somehow Dangote is monopolistic. But let's watch him and see.
He's monopolistic because he's a businessman. He must be a businessman. When he sees a leeway, he takes advantage of it.
It's okay.
And it's a very competitive industry.
Yes.
Now let me go back to Dr. Jonathan AJ. Doctor, you talked about distribution of palliative. The government has released trucks of grains to states. Nigeria is blessed in terms of everything. We are naturally endowed with mineral deposit and a vast lush green land for agricultural production, which should have made the country a lender, not a borrower. But should we continue to depend on handouts from government when we are this naturally endowed?
That is where even some of the government policies are lopsided. If they have the interest of the masses at heart, the policy will reflect on that too. Now, must we continue to depend on government? The answer is yes, and it is no. When there is no enabling environment, you want to go into farming as a young man, a graduate, you say, okay, let me do something. Because forget about the stories you are hearing elsewhere. We are born farmers. If you are not a farmer, your parents were farmers, or they are still farmers. So somebody that has gone to school and has an alternative to go back to the farm, why not if the job is not there? But is there enabling environment? When you are not putting the infrastructure right at the grassroots, that is what is drifting many young boys and young girls to the city. If the roads are okay, if there is electricity there, if there is water there at the grassroots, instead of coming here to pay large sum of money by way of rent or living an expensive life in the city, many young men would love a situation where they will go back to their root, go back to the villages and set up something for themselves. But the government is not giving them enabling environment. So it's very, very important that government should do that. And that is the reason why you discover that most Nigerians are depending on government. In a situation where the environment, the enabling environment is not created, and you are the breadwinner, what are you supposed to do? And you are the one collecting money from government before you spread it down the line to your relations. So if everybody is now looking on government, and government is supposed to take a decisive action to make the citizenry not to look onto government, they have to empower the ordinary Nigerian to be able to fend for themselves. But this is not feasible as we speak today.
Well, viewers, our telephone line is displayed on your screen so that you can also call to participate by making the program conversation. Let's hear your views concerning this economic hardship and the trailing reactions that are following the planned nationwide protest. Edward Chanomi, let me ask you, there are plans to shut down the Nigerian economy through a nationwide protest by young Nigerians, and that plan for the nationwide protest is gaining traction on social media, and it has the hashtag end bad governance, hashtag Tinubu must go. When you first read about that planned nationwide protest, what came to your mind?
Actually, what came to my mind, I became scared.
You were scary?
I was scared. I was scared. Because let's take our mind back to NSAS.
Yeah. We
saw how it started.
Yes.
We saw how it ended.
It was well-intentioned, but it left in its trail, tears, sorrow, and blood.
Yes. Why is it so? In the process of it, people came to hijack it. Concerning the issue of protest, it's our constitutional right.
Yes.
When things are not going well, you cry out because we have a government. So I became scared because it could lead to something else.
To anarchy?
Yes. Let's take our mind back to Kenya. It started like a play. Before you know, became a problem. Became an anarchy. No law.
Yeah.
Everyone to him or herself. So I thank God that the president appealed, but it is not enough. Let him call these people. Because when something starts small, just like fire, you may not know how wide it will go. And these are angry youths. Carefulness is needed.
Okay.
They are angry. One, no enabling environment to do their businesses, hunger, and so on. Cost of living, cost of farm product in the market. The president and his government and those his handlers are not even helping matters.
Okay.
The president may be there, but may be ill-informed. The president may be there, but may be ill-informed by his handlers. And some of these things, they don't know until when it comes to power. They say, I didn't know that it was like this. Let's take example of former President Buhari through those killings those days. Sometimes they say, I'm not aware.
Yeah.
Why? Because he was not informed.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will go and say, Mr. President, you are trying. Mr. President, no, we have taken care of it. Whereas nothing has been done. Let Mr. President open his ears and heart wide to really know the pains of Nigerians and tackle it.
Let me ask Dr. AJ, when you first got the news that young Nigerians are planning a nationwide protest against what they term economic hardship of the country. He talked about NSAS, how a very well-intentioned initiative was hijacked and it snowballed into something beyond control. What came through your mind?
I was waiting to get enough information about the crisis. Who are the people behind it? Because before you do something, the government says the opposition.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only the oppositions that are hungry in the country today.
Yeah.
I expected that something like this would come when you can no longer trust your government, when they are not living according to their words. Now, the protest, the drum is becoming sound every day, louder every day. Yes, do I support this planned protest? If you ask me, my answer is 100%.
Okay, 100%.
I support the protest 100%.
Okay.
Do I want it to take place? No. The answer is no.
Okay.
Does the government know what to do to avert the crisis? I want to believe that they know. Are they ready to do it? Because of the promises they have. Why must you wait until you are hearing the information, you are getting the information that people are planning to stage a protest before you act? I made a statement earlier in this discussion that Mr. President is supposed to be proactive, but I'm not seeing that in this government. Why must you wait until Labour will say increase minimum, give us minimum wage before you start discussion? How can you tell Nigerians that minimum wage is going to be the payment, the commencement of the payment is in May, we are in July, entering August. We are still discussing about it. So the government should take the government back to the people. And it's not everything that is politics. Because what they are telling the federal government now, even the state government, is that it's politics. They are introducing politics into it. It's going to be hijacked. Now, when they talk of being hijacked, I have my reservation. I don't know who the planners are. And they are saying that there is hunger in the land. I don't look at it as a hijack. You are demonstrating for me, assuming I am the one that is hungry, and you don't want me to join. And in the process of joining, if I see a truck parked somewhere that is filled with bags of rice, I will not go and take and say I have hijacked the protest. So the government should come clear and own it. You read in your news of what happened in the US of assassination attempt on Trump. The director of Secret Service, well, he may not have even been at the scene. He resigned. Why are we not seeing similar things like that? Some people are supposed to be removed as I speak now from government. Let me divert a bit, like what is happening to former CBN governor now. You want to tell me that only him sat in that his office, designed Naira, and caused trouble for the whole Nigerians? What of the directors that worked with him?
Only him is facing litigation.
Why must it be only him? The same thing is happening in civil service.
We have our first caller. Hello, good afternoon, you're welcome. This is the POLITY.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name, please, and where you're calling from?
This is Mr. Sunday.
Mr. Sunday, from where, sir?
From River State.
From River State. Go ahead with your contribution.
Wow.
They talk about it, had to mention protest might be hijacked. Like for the entrance protest, I and you said for aspects. We should know that it wasn't hijacked. Not until the boys were provoked. When you shoot at them, what did you expect? That was when it turned to violent protest and people look at it as if it was hijacked. And by the time you sponsor an opposition to come and attack the people, the people to protest, would you fold your arms and watch that there? We know it happened last time. People were sponsored. And when they come, the people say the people protest react. The government of the day will always decide that. And they know what they are doing. And we should try and figure out the right thing.
Okay.
To see that the country will be safe for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sunday. You talked about hijack. Let me come to that question. You know, you talked about government sponsoring opposition to hijack so that it can create a semblance of being hijacked. And now that takes me back to the question of handlers you earlier talked about, Edward. You said that handlers are not helping Mr. President, and I remember what the special advisor to Mr. President on communications and strategy, that's Bayo and Onanuga, who accused this phone call. We accused Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour, of organizing this thing, the planned demonstration. But let's take this caller before you respond to that. Hello, good afternoon. This is the POLITY. You're on to the POLITY from KAFTAN Television in Abuja studios.
Thank you very much, sir.
Your name, sir, and where you're calling from?
My name is Mr.
Chukwuemeka. From Benin.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead with your comments, sir. It's your show. We have lost the caller. I want you to respond to that accusation. And you know, after the accusation, Mr. Peter Obi said, yes, he's going to institute a legal action against Bayo Onanuga through his counsel. And he has been written, but he said he has not received any letter. In case any letter comes his way for that allegation, he said he's ready.
Just like what I said initially, sometimes the handlers.
Okay, let's take this caller.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. This is the POLITY from KAFTAN Television in Abuja Studios. Good afternoon. Your name, please, where are you calling from? Lokoja, Kogi State. Go ahead with your comment. We can't hear you. You're not audible enough. Could you raise your voice a little bit, please? We have lost the caller. Go ahead.
Okay, just like what I said, the handlers. I don't know the kind of information that Mr. Onamigo had that is making this accusation.
Exactly.
That is one. And number two, you don't just accuse somebody of what the person doesn't know, except if he has facts. Except if he has facts. Okay.
Go ahead.
Except if he has fact. If he has no fact, such comment is baseless. It's baseless. And if it is baseless, Peter Obi should just...
Okay, we have a caller. Hello, good afternoon. This is the POLITY from KAFTAN Television.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. It's still afternoon, sir.
I want to contribute. When we talk about the issue of hijacker,
Yes.
it's either those involved will now sponsor encounter people that will counter this issue of protest. But at the same time, it might have political view. Again, but the question is, who are the people sponsor? They are sponsoring this issue of protest. Nigeria needs to know, because I'm residing in the village, and there is no presence of government because the issue there's no proper local government administration.
Go ahead. We've lost a caller, but we have another caller. Hello, good afternoon. This is the POLITY. Yeah, your name, please, and where you're calling from.
It's Emmanuel calling from Maucauley.
Okay, Emmanuel, go ahead with your comment.
Please, there's nothing wrong with the voting.
Okay.
All right. There's nothing wrong with it, but the problem is that we don't know where the protest will end us. But if the president wants to protect the Nigerian, I think he should go ahead to do it because the hardship of the land is much.
Okay.
People are complaining, no food. And besides, no circulation of money. Even I was doing this, everything is crumbled because of there's no enough money for people to use and run business very well. So let the president do something before it's too late.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Is of the view that the planned protest should go ahead. I want you to also respond to that question. What happens to the image of a country when you accuse someone, particularly an immediate past presidential candidate of a leading opposition party, of something he's not aware of? What does that happen to the image of that kind of country or that kind of government?
The government is playing on the intelligence of Nigerians. Because in an organized environment, when you have a dossier or information about somebody that has something to do with security of the nation, is he the right person to announce it?
Exactly.
Is he now part of intelligence unit?
Let's take this caller. I want you to hold on that line of thoughts. Good afternoon. This is the POLITY.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Benin State.
Okay, your name? Okay, go ahead with your contribution.
When it happens to people that we care about, we talk about proof. Do the Nigerians have proof for those women that are looking for a party?
Beg your pardon?
I said, when it happens to people that Your guest is making comment that before you make that kind of allegation, you have proof. Everything that is said Peter or Peter, they will ask about proof. But if another person, they will go ahead and say it. The women that they are listing for people, does Nigeria have proof for that? We have to be fair to everybody. We are all human beings. I want this country to move on. We have to be fair to everybody.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your call. Go ahead, sir.
The point I'm trying to make is this. There is an allegation on Peter Obi that he is behind the protest. Now he went ahead to announce it to the whole world that this is the person behind it. What I'm asking now is that he may have the correct information and the facts. Is he the right person now to announce to us who is behind the protest? Was he the one that carried out that intelligence report or investigated those that are behind him? And he's not submitting his report to his principal. He's not submitting his findings to DSS. But he decided to come on air to announce that P2B. I don't know.
You're not holding brief for anybody.
But I'm just analyzing the situation. Yeah. Now, when there is a crisis, we look for a way to ameliorate it, not to put more fire or more wood into the fire.
Handlers.
There is no justification from that statement from him, even if he has the facts. That channel he used, using his office to tell us that this is the person behind. The planners of this protest, they know themselves. If it is true that Peter Obi is not party to this preparation for protest or arrangement for protest, the planners will even be sympathizing with him. Oh, this is an innocent person. And if actually it's part of this protest, government has a way of approaching him. There is a channel for investigating him the more. I expected a statement from P2B first to come out to deny it, not government accusing him first. So to me, it's a misplacement of priority. What these guys are trying to protest, is it right? Do they have the right to do it? What is the next thing for? I expect the federal government, the state government at all levels, to confront the planners of this protest with solutions or potential solutions. Oh, we have, yes, the President Tinubu is appealing for them to sheathe their sword. Yes, me as a father I will do that. But what do you have as an alternative on table? And how do you intend to go about it? Not you come up with your policy and say this is what government is doing. Is it acceptable to the populace? Is that what we are looking for? Is that what we want?
So, in other words, you are accusing government of being reactive instead of being proactive.
Yeah, instead of being proactive.
And as of today, an emergency meeting has been convened by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation with ministers. That's George Akumi. They are about meeting as we're talking now. So we don't know the outcome yet.
Now, is it meeting to stop the protest or meeting to bring proper solution to the crisis on ground? Because that is exactly what Nigerians are waiting to see and to hear, that this is what we intend to do to solve this problem. Then we will now say, okay, you are solving it this way. This is the best way to solve it. This is a discussion. So there must be a conversation along that line, not to come out and threaten Nigerians. The same people that are hungry, you are threatening them. Now, let me tell you one danger. At the end, the planners may say, well, I don't want any trouble, let me support the government, and they will withdraw. These hungry people can decide to come out on their own.
Do you share that same view?
Yeah, I share the same view because a hungry man is an angry lion.
An angry man. I remember a song like that.
Yes, and when lion roar, a lot of things, even the predators in the jungle, they shiver. So the government should look deep, and the president should act quickly, should be proactive, not to do this blame game. Just like what Mr. Peter Obi said, he's waiting for maybe the government to do some write-up against him. And not only that, he's planning to go to court too.
Yeah, he said so.
Once it is being made official. And he also demand for an apology.
An apology.
And if it is true, the government should do so, because it is.
Okay, we have a caller.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity from KAFTAN Television Studios in Abuja. Your name, please, and where you are calling from?
Yes, my name is Stephen.
Stephen, from where?
From the State. I'm watching people right here.
Okay, go ahead with your comments, sir.
Yes, I want to know.
Okay.
Because I got the information that the House of Assembly cut their salary into two.
No, House of Representatives cut their salary by 50% for the next 6 months.
But is it because the protest?
No, it's
the
because of
the protest is coming up.
No,
That's why they are doing this. The question is why did they not do it before the attempt of this protest?
Okay.
And again, the minimum wage, the matter of the minimum wage, I noticed that the federal government just abandoned it for a very long time. Then since the attempt of the protest, the minimum wage has been signed into law by the federal government and even the Senate. Why should they wait before, when the protest is about to take place before they do this? Why is the government playing on the intelligence of Nigeria?
Okay.
It's very bad to talk about it. It's very bad.
Thank you, Steve.
Very, very bad.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. I'm watching people right here.
Thank you so much, Steve, for your contribution. Steve said he's watching us and he's asking, why must they wait till there is a planned nationwide demonstration or strike before they slash their salary by 50% for the next 6 months? Well, let's take this caller before you react to Steve's contribution. Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity. Good afternoon, sir. Your name, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We can hear you loud and clear. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, please. My name is Adi Bello.
Okay, Bello.
I don't think we should be inviting war into our country, inner war into our country. If you invited people on your program like this, and they are still going to join this protest,
Go ahead.
They don't give us vision to what's going on, and what is coming up now. Let them tell us. That's the best way to go. As good as they are, see the way they are talking, that's the better contribution. Everybody knows what happened during the answers. If they are caught on the road driving at that time, in fact, you know what to do. What do you know about this?
Okay.
What area are you talking about? If you are gathered there, say something better. What is the solution? If you are in the government, how to perform? Any two of you there, tell us.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bello. Bello said maybe Bello has not been paying attention to what we're talking about. From the beginning of this program, the two of you have preferred solutions. And you have also, put it on the doorsteps of government, their faults, and you have also supported the demonstration. Go ahead, react to that.
We have individual differences.
Yeah.
When a set of people are annoyed and they want to protest, our own role here is to tell government the truth, then pacify them.
Pacify government.
So there's no point cajoling anything. The facts are already on the ground. And the program is still ongoing. We prefer solution to this problem. How we can help government.
Okay, we have another caller. Okay. Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity, please. Good afternoon. Your name? Okay. Okay. You're calling from where? Akure. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead, Akure, yes.
So, my contribution to this program is let us go back to God and pray concerning this country.
Okay.
Because it has been written in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 that all these things will be happening at the end time. And if then will both speak of it last time. Even though if the country want to wait, the economy want to be like this, it will be like this. But let us go back to God and pray to God and to give us a good leadership in this country.
Okay.
That's my country.
Okay. Idowu from Akure quoted a verse from 2 Timothy, and you are a clergy. You lead, you shepherd a lot of people, and I know that America did not go to the moon through prayer and fasting. China has attained greatness today, not through prayer and fasting, but because of research, diligence, scientific research, and whatnot. How can you react to that?
Yeah, that
In as much as prayer is also good.
Yes, prayer is good, and the Bible encourages us to pray.
Yeah.
But one thing is that prayer without works is dead.
Is dead.
One thing with Nigerians, we pray a lot, but we don't act.
We don't act.
We have prayed and prayed and prayed, but we don't act.
On that prayer note, let's take this caller. Good afternoon. This is the polity. Okay, go ahead, sir.
So our prayer is good.
Yeah.
We've been praying. Even the Bible admonishes that we should first of all pray for our leaders. We have been doing.
Okay.
But it's as if...
Hello? Good afternoon. Really, I thought there. Good afternoon. This is the polity.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead with your contribution after your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Benjamin Ebon.
Okay.
I'm calling from Akwa Ibom State.
Okay, Akwa Ibom. Go ahead with your comments or contribution.
All the solution the government is trying to fight against is that the only problem we're having is fuel.
Fuel.
And if we fix our refinery and fuel are cheap, transport will cheap, and the goods will fall down.
Okay.
All this money spending over every other thing they are doing is they're supposed to concentrate on the fuel, on refineries, and fix them.
Okay.
Or they supply Dangote enough crude to produce fuel, so that we can be able to have cheaper transport, because the goods they bought, they are still buying the goods cheap where they bought it, but at the end of it, the transport will hide the price of everything.
Okay.
So if the goods are down in the market, this hardship will be relief.
Okay.
So I think that's the solution. We should concentrate on putting that refinery at least within now and December.
Okay.
All this hardship will come down.
Thank you, Benjamin, for your contribution. It's of the view that between now and December, we fix our refineries. It's a very, very Herculean task in this country. Between now and December, it's just not just possible for the government to revamp our refineries and make them functional, because we have heard the promises from previous government. In fact, the past 3 governments have promised to fix our refineries, but they have not done so. Let's take this caller. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You are our first female caller today, number 11. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
Blessing, calling from Abuja.
Okay, Blessing from Abuja. We are excited because you are the first female caller. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
The only thing I want to add is that I want to thank you for this talk, and I'm very grateful for you picking my call.
Thank you so much.
My contribution is that, the country is hard, everywhere is hard. They gave us this immigration job, and for 8 months now, they refused to pay us our arrears.
Okay.
They said they are going to pay, they didn't pay. The palliative came up, they didn't pay. They said they are giving some people the money, they didn't give anybody. So that's what has been disturbing all of us as the new intake.
Okay. Thank you, Blessing. Blessing is concerned. She's a concerned Nigerian. She sounds very, very young. That she's been employed with, with the immigration department. In the last 8 months, they have not been paid their allowances.